Greetings, welcome back to Signature Scents. My name is Ryan, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Taylor of Old Bond Street Sandalwood Cologne, if I'm saying that name correctly. This is a scent that I found kind of spontaneously on Amazon while looking for something else. I'll briefly tell that little story, but first let's get this box open. Here's the box, very classy. I like the colors. I like the font. It gives it kind of a nice elegant aura to it. It says, "A true gentleman's discreetly fragranced cologne, herbal aromatics, Taylor of Old Bond Street" on the back. I think my camera is in reverse. I don't know how to fix it. I'm gonna work on that. Now I'm gonna do this in three different things. I'm gonna first get my impression out of the bottle, then I'm gonna put some on a tester, and then I'm gonna put a little bit on my skin. In past tests, I've noticed it changes in the three different ways. So quick look at the bottle. Very nice. It's just basically a glass bottle with a very obvious sticker on the front. I think this stuff was fairly cheap. Now, how I came to find this stuff, I was looking for a sandalwood fragrance, and I had narrowed it down to, I actually was getting ready to buy Geo F. Trumpert. And when I was searching for it, I think it was on Amazon or something, I somehow ended up on a page for this stuff, and it was really strange. I have no idea how I got on this page, and I kind of got a really good feeling about it, so I ended up buying this instead of the Trumper. And let's see how it goes. I did watch a very brief video about this. I don't really know too much about it. All I do know, the house is supposed to be over 100 years old. It's a classic formulation, which I adore. I also love sandalwood, and I've also heard it's got a powderiness to it. So other than that, let's go ahead and check it out. It is a splash bottle. Okay. So out of the bottle, this has wow, it's the same, that's that same talky, synthetic talky note that is in the Pinaud, Clubman, and also the Brut EDT. And also, this has the same note in the Sebastion Fine Cologne. Now, I love that note. That's actually one of the reasons I fell in love with the Clubman by Pinaud and also the Brut EDT and all that. The problem for me, unfortunately, is for whatever reason, that synthetic talky note, whatever the chemical they use for that, it gives me a headache. And as I smell this, I can already feel it does something in my sinuses. I don't know. It's very, very unfortunate because there's a lot of great scents that I kind of feel like I'm missing out on, particularly the Club and Pinaud. This is one that I already feel like I'm not going to be able to wear, maybe because of that smell, but we'll see if my nose comes around. I have been feeling a little bit off lately. So let me smell it again. It just basically smells like a really toned down Club and Pinaud. I don't really smell much else other than the talkiness is by far prominent. And there's a little bit of an aftertaste of what you could consider to be sandalwood. So let me first put it on paper and see if I can get a little bit more of a diffusion on it. So I got a nice little soak there. Get that a chance to air out. Okay, so it changes on the paper. Now this is why I'm doing this in the three different ways, because it really does change in all stages. This one, when you smell it right out of the bottle, you get it in a very, very condensed sort of way. When you put it on the paper, you get it a lot more diffused. And then when I put it on my skin, because of my chemistry, typically it goes a little darker with scents with me. My chemistry projects more of the darker elements, and it just changes in the skin. So this is an interesting little test. Yes, okay. The powdery note is there, but it's not it's not the main player right now. I actually picking up the sandalwood, a creamy sandalwood, and there's a little spice to it. It almost kind of has a very, I want to say maybe nutmeg. It has kind of a little bit of a reminiscence of Oldspice. There's that same spice from the Oldspice. I know that sounds kind of weird, but there's a note or two from Oldspice that are in this, and it's very, very nice. Ah, man, I'm feeling my sinuses. It feels like almost like a combination of like a pressure. If you ever had a sinus infection where you have that sort of like a pressure that's a very acute, it's like when I smell this stuff and that chemical goes in there, it it reacts to there something inside my sinuses. So I'm feeling that now, but I want to keep going because it's very nice. So I would say like nutmeg, maybe clove, a nutmeg, clove, and a sandalwood are the things, and then you have the talcy powderness is kind of like just in all of it. Very, very nice though. It's very another thing about to remark about it is it's not like the Pinaud Clubman is very projection. It's very it really comes off very much. This is much more subdued. Okay, so let me go ahead and put it on the skin. Now, before I put it on the skin, I'm gonna go ahead and predict. I'm gonna take a guess that I'm gonna get more of the sandalwood and maybe the spices, and I think the powderiness might go down a little bit. So let's see what happens here. By the way, the bottle, I don't know if you can hear that. It's got a very satisfying metal to glass noise. The cap is not extremely heavy, but it's also not very, it's not like a cheapo. It's got a little bit of weight to it. It's nice. Okay. Let me put a little bit on my skin. And it's got a very small, let me see if I can get on the camera. Maybe not. A very small hole for the stopper. Okay. All right, here we go. Normally I'll put a little bit more on because of the way that that headache thing I told you about, I've reacted in the past. I don't want to go crazy yet. What I think I'll do is I'm going to get a glass bottle from Whole Foods, and I'll dump it in that way I can spray it. I think I mentioned this before. I like to spray them because you get more of the scent profile versus the dab. It's sort of similar. It's like a hybrid of coming out of the bottle versus on your skin. Okay. Yes. So exactly what I said. In fact, I'm getting most of the spice now that's on the skin. So it's gone from out of the bottle. It's gone from the powderiness being a dominant on the paper. It's more of the creamy sandalwood with the spice, and the powder is actually almost kind of gone. Off my skin, its spice is the main player. So it really does smell like a lighter Oldspice. I would say like an incomplete Oldspice. Obviously, Oldspice with all the spices. It's a little more, I would say it's a little more full bodied. This has some of the notes in Oldspice. The little powderiness. It's very nice. Like this is a very it's classy. You know, some of these cheap scents, I say cheap because of the price, but they don't smell cheap. Like this is a second one in a row. In fact, the Paul Sebastion make it 3. Although the Paul Sebastion, I'll talk about that separately. It does smell very, very nice. The talky one part of it though is a little bit higher, and that one, and it still smells very, very nice. In fact, all three, the Bogart Signature and the Taylor of Old Bond Street, for what you're getting for your money from these is insane. I can't believe that these are only, I think this was like $10. I think the Bogart was $13. I'm wearing the Bogart now. I'm really, really enjoying it so far. This one is like, okay, if you've ever smelled Clubman by Pinaud, this is like a classier version for me, to my nose, of the Clubman Pinaud. Clubman Pinaud is very much like you're putting on like liquid talc. And yes, it has a little bit of lavendum and a little bit of that, but for me, it's mostly a talc bomb. This is more balanced, where like if Clubman Pinaud, if the talc is up here and the rest stuff's here, this one is bringing it down to more like somewhere around this area. It's like a very, very balanced between the powderiness, but the powderiness is not dominating it. It doesn't smell like it's a beast projector. It smells like it's going to sit sort of close to the skin, which is okay because, again, for me anyways, that synthetic note, like right now, I'm actually not having too much of a problem with it. When I smell Pinaud off the skin on the Clubman, but unfortunately, because I love that smell, it just kills it. Off my skin, it's doing much, much better. This is it's going to sit closer to the skin. I would say it's probably going to project for probably an hour or less. it's going to be a nice scent bubble, then it'll probably turn more into a very, very close thing. But the great thing about these, why I like these, let me explain why I like these cheapier ones. Number one, this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but the freshy kind of things, which I personally, I love citrus stuff, but I like these aromatic fougères in barbershops as freshies. I like that you can use these and you can overspray them without having a problem, right? I like that they're cheap because a lot of the freshies or that genre of the clean smells, if you're paying like 60, 70, $80 or $100 a bottle, like for example, Acqua di Parma, I think is like $60 to $80 for around 60 mil, give or take. I mean, that stuff doesn't last long from what I've heard. And these ones, you can overspray them, you can reapply, and I like them for daytime scents because somebody said a comment the other day I watched from a reviewer, I can't remember his name. He was talking about, do you want to eat the same food every single meal, every single day? It will get so boring, right? So I'm someone who loves diversity, and even like I like to change my scents at least once or two times per day, or once a day. So I like to start off my day with something, and I like to end my day with something else. I like to do this with my clothes as well. I usually change, and it's just this kind of keeping yourself fresh. So I don't necessarily like putting on beast mode colognes or parfums or whatever extraction level they are, because I don't want to be stuck with it all day. Like I used to own Sauvage Elixir. It's a fantastic smell. I ended up selling it because, long story short, after I retrained my nose to classic formulations, I came back to Sauvage Elixir, and particularly not just any classic formulations, a lot of the vintage formulations, like where it smelled very rich, high quality, and I went to Elixir. It still smelled good, but when you spray it on, it has this very prominent chemical synthetic note that must be what they're using to like amplify it. It still is a fantastic fragrance, and I'll probably end up getting it again sometime. But that one, man, that stuff, when you spray that stuff on, you can't even wash it off. I sprayed that stuff on a bag once that I have, just to give me like a little bit of the aura. And that stuff stayed on that bag even through a wash for, I think, at least over a week after I sprayed on there. So then I think to myself, another thing is, do I really want something like that on my skin? Is that really healthy for my skin? Like, something about that seems wrong, you know? Like, your skin is the largest organ of your body. Whatever you're putting on your skin, it is eating it, it is processing it, and it's one of those things where I know the cheapies also aren't the greatest, but something about those ones, I don't know. But let me wrap this up by saying my first impression is this, and now I'm getting the Drydown. Okay, so the Drydown, it's becoming creamier. It's really smoothing out, where first it was a little bit kind of like it's probably because I splashed on, and I think if I would have sprayed it on, I would have got this more, but it was a little bit more condensed, and now it's starting to open up, and the Drydown is starting to like reveal some more of the smoothness of the scent, if that makes sense. It's becoming a very nice, soft, creamy sandalwood. And that soft, creamy sandalwood is sort of gently wrapped in the talciness. The talciness, instead of like Pinaud, where talciness is the predominant thing, this is more like the Pinaud is like, the talc is what's being painted. This one is more like the sandalwood's what's being painted, and the talc is playing more of a supporting cast, where you're not getting a full talc. It's sort of blended with the sandalwood, and it's like it's creating this one unified note of the sandalwood. And with that, there's also that nutmeg smell. I think it was nutmeg and or clove that I was smelling. It's still there. It is prominent, and this stuff is, I have to say, is very well blended. Only reason I'm smelling the nutmeg clove scent is because I knew it was there because I smelled it out of the bottle and off the paper first, and now I know what to look for. If I didn't know that initially, this is blended very nicely. The sandalwood and the spice and that powder are so well blended that it smells like one single note if you're just casually doing this. Now, when I smell it like I'm looking for it, you can get a little bit, but man, is it nice. And again, this stuff was $10. I mean, this is unbelievable. What a value for your money. I mean, this is 100 milliliters for $10. That's, what does that come out to? My math is terrible. Is that 10 cents a milliliter, something like that? Is that right? 10 cents a milliliter? So wow, yeah, I'm very impressed. 100-year-old house, classic formulation. Very classy, very elegant, very, very simple, but very pleasant. Like, this is so classy that I honestly think that you could dress this up. Like, if you sprayed this on like a suit, you could easily pull it. This smells like a nice, I don't want to say expensive, but I also don't want to say not expensive. Like, this actually smells like if you didn't know anything, I told you, yes, this was this 100 ml, this was $200 bottle. This could pass, I think, for an expensive fragrance if you didn't know better. So I'm very impressed with it. Of course, just like my other ones, this is just an off-the-cuff, off-the-top review or a smell test. And now what I'll do is I'm going to take this to the next level because I really like it. I'm not going to go ahead and sell it. I'm going to keep it. Now, if I can get over the headache part of it, which I think I will, I'm not feeling it too bad. It's not as extreme because that talciness is not as prominent in this, thank God, because I love the way this smells. So next steps. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to buy a glass spray for this, and now I'm going to spend some time with this. I think what I'm going to do is, right now I'm wearing the Bogart. I'm going to probably wear this in the evening time. I'm going to spray it on. And I'm going to spend some time with this, probably several days, and I'm going to create a nice review. I want to go and research this Taylor of Old Bond Street. I'm very fascinated by this house and see if I can get some nice information about the background and the history and where this came from. I think that they are... Yes, they're out of England, so it just actually says their address on there. It's from London. So very, very cool English-style barbershop scent. It's kind of like a mix between Oldspice, a Sandalwood Oldspice, and a Pinaud, but all very subdued and blended very, very well is my initial reaction. So I will also go more into... I'm going to spend time with it and develop a character for this, a personification. I'll dive more into the note breakdown, the accords, and really do a deep dive and decide if I'm actually going to keep this stuff or not once I spend more time with it and figure out how it does. Okay, so if you like this video, make sure to hit the like. Now, make sure to subscribe because in addition to the review that's going to be coming out for the Bogart, I'm going to do a review on the Paul Sebastion Fine Cologne. I'm going to do a review on this. These are going to be full reviews. I also have 11 samples coming from the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. Very excited for those. Those are, if you don't know about Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, they're a company, I guess you can consider niche, but they're not, they don't have niche prices. They use all natural ingredients and they have originals, but they also have, they were not clones, they're called homages, they're interpretations. So I'm getting, part of the sample group has an homage to Brut, which, you know, if you watch my past videos, I have the Fabergé original clone, I have the modern ET, I love Brut. I'm getting also the homage to the Oldspice, the two different versions of it. And I also just the other day ordered a old Schulten style Oldspice from like the 50s and 60s that I'm going to be getting in a full 4-ounce bottle splash. That's coming in, I believe it's going to be coming in early next week. So I'm going to do a review on that, a initial reaction, and also for review. So make sure to hit subscribe so you can get those videos. And wishing you the best. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to waft kindness to others. God bless.